What's poppin', players? Welcome back to a Two Penny Game Club, your video game book club that comes out every month. The first episode of the month for the Two Penny Games Cast, our full podcast over at youtube.com/2pennygamescast or mainstream podcast services of your choice. That comes out every Monday, 8 a.m. Me and my good buddy Connor. Say hello to the people, Connor.
Hello, how you doing?
Sit down to you, and we give you the new news you need to know. This is attached to it, but we also do a little breakout video for it, in which me, Connor, and my good buddy Phil, say hello, Phil.
I'm here now.
He's here now. We sit down, and we review a game of yonder, a game of the past.
Of yore.
And, we just give like a little modern review, little update review, and we like to rank them against each other for shits and giggles. So, for example, we've done The Last of Us, we've done Chrono Trigger, we've done Resident Evil 4. That's all we've done up to this point. And now we're on Portal. This time we got Phil joining us. The last three, Phil hadn't joined us. Now,
No.
ladies and gentlemen, you might be
play
like, well,
bad
is Phil up to date? Has he played all the other games like we have? No, he hasn't.
I don't play bad games, so.
Hey,
Wow.
You don't like
Sorry.
Chrono Trigger? All right.
Sorry, all of them are baby games. They're all just
Definitely
baby
none of the games we've played bad at all. Anyways, Phil has played most of Resident Evil 4, at least more than half.
Yeah,
at this
over
point.
half.
And he's working his way in the background through The Last of Us Part 1. I don't expect he'll ever play Chrono Trigger.
I'm playing through Last of Us Part 1, like the remake PS5 one with Ash. So my
It'll
girlfriend-
retain its number 2 spot forever.
Tomato. It's number 1, Connor. It's number 1.
Chrono Trigger.
Trigger's number
Chrono
one?
Trigger will remain.
Chrono Trigger's number 2. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I was gonna say Chrono Trigger's number 1.
No,
With
absolutely not.
Tavin, the Last of Us fanboy in here.
No.
Be frothing and raving.
Listen, both
Well,
me and
that's all
Connor
right.
agreed.
At the
Both
mouth.
me and Connor agreed it wasn't as good as The Last of Us. It wasn't a fair fight because The Last of Us came out 20-something years later, but it is what it is, you know? It is
Tavin
what it
would be
is.
foaming at the mouth if Last of Us wasn't number 1.
Anyways, gentlemen, let's get right into it. Portal. We all played it on PC. We all got it through Steam, about $10. And I'll go ahead and go first. What a lovely time this Portal game is.
very
If you
fun.
don't know, first-person puzzle platformer game in which you're eventually given a gun that shoots 2 different portals, and then you use that to solve different puzzles and stuff. And it's got some physics-based stuff going on. One of the first games ever to have like physics-based puzzles going on in it. I think it's just an absolute ball of a time. It controls pretty damn well, still holds up pretty damn well. I think the level design is pretty ingenious. From stem to stern, it works from like literally like level 0, where it's like, hey, this is how you move and this is how like basic controls and functions work, and then how it teaches the player level by level, step by step, and it starts adding levels of complexity with every level, and the way that it goes off the rails, near the later half and stuff, I think really, really holds up, and I think it stands toe to toe with some of the best games ever made. In fact, in terms of just game design and dialogue, because it's also a very well-written game, I think it stands toe-to-toe with The Last of Us. The only thing that is like a meh for me is that it's 2 hours long, give or take, probably at most. There's always the argument of, well, would you rather have a 10 out of 10 game but it can only be a couple hours long, or would you rather have like a 6 out of 10 but it's 30 hours long? I would rather be somewhere in the middle. I'd rather take an 8 out of 10, 10-hour experience, somewhere in there, because even though you're short and impactful and every moment is phenomenal, you're just not taking up enough bandwidth in my brain in order to like justify putting you up in those upper echelons. So like, even though it's arguably a perfect game, it's just too short for me to like love it.
Yeah.
Phil,
I think
how did you feel?
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think it took all of us like 2 hours or less. Or like
I was sitting somewhere in the hour 45, 2 hour mark, somewhere around there.
Yeah, because I streamed it a couple weeks ago, without audio apparently. Fucking, but yeah. Anyway, it was fun. I mean, I think like you were saying, like it takes just enough time to teach the player how to implement all the systems before adding levels of complexity to each one to keep everything somewhat fresh. I was not. I feel like they waited just the right amount of time to give you the full portal gun.
Yeah.
Like they didn't keep you waiting too long, because you start with only being able to use one of the portals. I think like the first level you pick up the portal gun and it's got like just the blue one.
Mm-hmm.
And then like
I want to say there's a round or two where you don't even do that. You just let the portal gun do its own thing.
right.
Or well, you're just solving button
does it
puzzles or whatever.
Right. And then I think 3 or 4 you pick up the portal gun and it's just got the blue one, so you're in control of the blue one. You're waiting on them to pop up the orange one. And then I think somewhere around like 8 or 9 8, 9 or 10 they give you the orange side, so you're at full control over your puzzle making ability. And of course, you have to do the classic portal thing, which is you put a portal below you and you put a portal above you and just fucking go through over and over and over and over, and then to see how fast you can go. And then if you're even more skilled, or I guess just lucky, you land something on the other side, on a wall as you're going through, so you just fucking slam up against a wall really fucking fast, using all that momentum. Because the conservation of motion in this game, like as far as like momentum goes, is insane. Like I feel like it ramps it up just to make it more satisfying, because there are some bits that require you to use momentum and like throw a portal on the ground, jump into it as you have one on the wall. And there are some bits where like it just you can feel that it thrusts you forward. Like it feels like it thrusts you forward more than it should. Which is fine, because I don't want it to be totally realistic.
When the gravity change happens from when you enter one portal and exit the other, there's something there where it kind of throws you somehow.
Have you done the thing where like you place 2 portals in the ground, so you just keep going whoop 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 whoop, like back and forth, like where you'll
I did that. I did that when I was younger and played this game, because I've played this game once before when I was like 14. So it's been about a decade since I've touched Portal 1. And yeah, it was
just flopping like a fish.
Yeah, it was just flopping like a fish. And then I accidentally did it in this playthrough.
Yeah, I think the first time I played it was right after I graduated high school. So like late 2016, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just later to it, because it was primarily a PC game, and I never had the orange box growing up, so I never really got to experience it until much later.
I was so close to just messaging y'all and being like, y'all, the orange box is only $20. I'm gonna go ahead and buy that. But we'll just leave that for the future. Connor,
it gives you Portal, Team Fortress 2, and what else?
Half-Life 2.
Half-Life 2 and Portal 2 as well.
Amazing combination.
Great, yeah, super great. Connor, how did you feel about Portal?
I agreed with you guys. It's pretty much a perfect game. I can't find any faults with it anywhere. To me, it has become, well, it already has kind of been, at least in my eyes, the definitive puzzle game. People always, it's always in the conversation when you bring up puzzle games. And now that I've played it for the first time, I'd say it's probably my favorite puzzle game. I don't play a lot of puzzle games.
Short list.
I don't. It is a short list. I'm not even the biggest fan of them, because generally I want to go through other, styles of games.
Like
ones that have action story. What?
Like Deus Ex.
Yes, like Deus Ex, Game of the Year Edition, 2000. That game's amazing. Exactly, it's amazing. Those so it doesn't have a super complex level of depth to compared to. It's complex. It has a level of depth to it. Like you said, the physics mechanic, great. First one to do it, which I couldn't have known that. But it is a pretty bare bones game, all things considered. It doesn't have really a much of a plot, though there is one. It doesn't really have a lot of diversity in gameplay. It doesn't need to, but
but what's there is really well written and really well designed.
Yes, like I said, everything that is there in the game, that is present, is perfect. It's just very faultless.
The snark that's there is just off the charts.
Yeah,
I love it.
Laughed multiple times when because I never played Portal, so I didn't know what Gladys was going to say next, and her personality was, very deserving of being highly regarded as a video game character, because she was just so fun.
Me and Tavin were talking last night. She didn't have a name yet.
Yeah, I guess you
Yeah,
never.
they don't even call her
it.
Gladys in this one. Yeah, that's a game that, or the thing that they do in the second one.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, we cut you off. Anything else?
No, It's like I was saying. It's perfect game, but it's not really. It doesn't have as much aspects to criticize as, let's say, Last of Us or Chrono Trigger. It's not even very. It's very even minimalistic on the music, which isn't very present in the game. But when it is, once again, it's good. It's really, really
that
good.
credit song, man.
Oh, the
Yeah.
credit song is hilarious. It's so funny.
It is.
I'm
And
not even angry.
it's like whatever they decided to do, they did it good. And I'm really excited to inevitably play Portal 2 because by all accounts, it's a better game. And I think I'll even be hotter on that.
They take everything in this game and just ramp it up.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. And to be fair, like this game was such a test bed for so many different things. I believe it was like one of the first games on Steam, so it was like kind of launching the Steam platform.
Yeah, I think that's actually true.
And then along with like Half-Life 2, I believe. And then it was a smaller team, such a small like budget to do it, so they did everything they possibly could for what they were trying to do here. And then it was more about the technical abilities of it all than it was the like building a full game like they do eventually do with Portal 2, because I remember the marketing for Portal 2 being off the fucking chain. And yeah, when we do eventually get to the sequel, I'm very, very excited to explore that, because that is going to be, a much more girthy experience in comparison to this one.
On that note, so you played Portal 2, Phil, right?
Yes.
And you did too, Tavin?
I believe I played like the first quarter or half of it, but like I've watched a playthrough, so I vaguely remember what happens.
Okay.
Tavin, watching a playthrough is not the same as playing a game.
It's not. That's why I distinguish the difference there, Philip.
So pathetic Tavin is to watch a game who watches game.
What a hypocrite. What a hypocrite, this man.
The only game that I've watched is Brutal Legend for some reason.
Why did you played that
Because
game?
I literally didn't think I would ever play it. So I was like,
watched
okay.
it while he played it.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been really weird. I don't know if I could have done that. Which, I ended up just watching it and then I think I can get this game, and I did.
I watched a streamer, the girlfriend's review, the girlfriend reviews crew. I watched them play The Last of Us Part 2 as I was playing The Last of Us Part 2. I was like 4 or 5 hours ahead of them, and then was just watching them go along.
You couldn't get enough.
That was fun because like I'd cry, and then like 5 hours later they'd cry, and I'd be like, yeah, I remember when I was crying. Anyways, gentlemen. I mean, what else is there to say about Portal?
Yeah.
It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point. I wish it was longer, and clearly Portal 2 is something that solves that issue. So unless you boys have something else to say, I'm ready to rank this thing and get a move on.
Yeah,
Bank it.
It's a minimalistic game, and we don't really need to spend a lot of time talking about it.
Yeah.
Rank it and bank it, baby.
So right now on the screen, the audience is going to see a nice little graphic of where the standings are right now. We don't see it because it hasn't been made yet, because I thought I was going to have more time this morning before we started recording.
Whoa, it's right. Oh, you can't see me point which direction I'm pointing because it's below the camera. It's right there, though.
It's taking up the whole screen. Anyways,
And I was right. You
number
can't see
one,
me pointing.
You can.
Number 1, we have The Last of Us. Number 2, Chrono Trigger. And number 3, Resident Evil 4. Connor, I'm going to go ahead and start with you, man. Start this bidding off, man. How are you feeling about this game? Where were you thinking about putting it?
No, like I said, it's a perfect game. I can't really find much fault with it. But in my eyes, it is a puzzle game, which despite as good of a puzzle game it is, I'm not going to be as hot on it as other games. It's short, which, well, the shortness really doesn't matter in my ranking of this game. But the minimalistic aspects of the game does. So ultimately, I think I would have to personally place it at number 4, because the other games have a lot more going on. They have a lot more of a story. They have characters that are more defined. Generally, and this isn't a rag on the game. Like I said, this is really just because of how little content is in the game overall, which is the ranking it is getting, which is why it's getting that ranking. But it's a great game. I expect it to be, maybe higher than others, but as of right now, I think with what the game has, it needs to be number 4.
As we get deeper, I'm in a similar vein as you. I like puzzle games more than you. But the length of the game does bother me personally. Even though it's pretty cheap nowadays, it's $10. You can get it in the orange box for even cheap when you divvy up how many games are in that and the cost of that. But it didn't stay long enough to leave enough of an impression. But what is there is so good. Like, there is no fat on this game at all. And though, like, I started this off with like, man, I'd rather like a 8 out of 10-hour experience, and Resident Evil 4 is kind of that for me, where it's a high 7, low 8, 14-hour experience. I just think I think the fat on Resident Evil 4 shows so much that I would knock it below this, but I just can't. Even though I think it's probably objectively the best designed game on the list, it's just not. There's just not enough content here to justify putting it over Chrono Trigger or The Last of Us. So for me, I'm going number 3 above Resident Evil 4, but below Chrono Trigger, which puts us at a standstill. And last month, we would have just flipped a coin and let the results be where they are. But Phil, I would say you've played enough Resident Evil 4 at this point that I'm willing to allow you to be the tiebreaker here. First off, I guess you don't know because you haven't played the 2 out of the 3 games that are already on the list. So how are you feeling, man? Where does this game lie for you?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. I'm so glad that my first inaugural episode of Two Penny Game Club allows me to perform my reason for joining, and that's for being the tiebreaker.
The tiebreaker.
Yes.
They're honorable position.
Honorable. Yes. Point.
Valid. Very valid.
Yes. And with all of this being said, I do have to agree. I'm not going to say with who yet, but this game is very short. But with that being said, it's short and sweet. I feel like it's so influential as far as like physics go in games.
Yeah.
It being like I think revolutionary in just the sheer like scale of like stuff that it provides you. As far as physics go, like you like I said, you got the portals, you fucking get so much momentum going. You think, oh man, this thing's going this way, I can change this direction by throwing a portal there. There
Great
you go.
aha moments.
Exactly. Yeah. It provides so much. Like in the brain, it releases that dopamine. Fucking shoot me up, like shoot me up with that dopamine. And with all that being said, I agree that it's better than Resident Evil 4. So I'm gonna put it there at number 3.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is your ranking as it stands right now. Number 4, Resident Evil 4. Number 3, Portal. Number 2, Chrono Trigger. And number 1, The Last of Us. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't recall, every month we sit down and we review a new game from Games of Yore. And this next month, what month are we in? This is October. So November. November. I gotta look at my calendar. Hold on.
Shocktober.
So that was your Two Penny Game Club for October. November 7th. We will be back with a new episode of the Two Penny Game Club. We've already scheduled that one out to be Dishonored. You can get it fucking goddamn near everywhere. Xbox, PlayStation, via backwards compatibility, and then also PC. It's on there. I don't believe it's on any Nintendo platforms, but it's out there. You can find it pretty easily. So I'm very excited to join that. November 7th, everyone, be ready for some Dishonored talk. But until then, everyone have a great time. And then this also wraps up the Two Penny Games cast. So if you're listening from that, thank you so much for watching and listening. Remember, that goes up every Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/2pennygamescast, and mainstream podcast services of your choice. But until next time, have a great time. And gentlemen, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye.
Hey, see ya.